Good afternoon, everyone. This is the meeting of the City of Redlands Planning Commission for September 8th, 2020. This meeting is being conducted by conference call. I will bring the meeting to order, and we will begin by recording attendance by taking a roll call. Staff, would you kindly do a roll call take? Mr. Foote.
Certainly. Commissioner Richardson.
Here.
Commissioner Rock.
Here.
Commissioner Saucedo.
Here.
Commissioner Shaw.
Here.
Vice Chair Frazier. Okay, I do not see Vice Chair Frazier on the list. Chair Guskowski.
Here.
And
thank you very much, Mr. Foote. I'll just point out that I have not seen an email from Vice Chair Frazier, but I would fully expect that he will be joining us during the course. Mr. Frazier.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon to you, Vice Chair Frazier, and thank you for joining us right on time. Perfect. All right, the meeting has been brought to order. We've taken the roll call. The next part of our agenda is the public comment period. And I will ask staff, have we received any public comments on matters that are not on today's agenda?
Staff has not received any comments not on today's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Foote. We will move on then. Our next item on the agenda is presentations. We have no presentations on today's agenda. We will move on then to the consent calendar. And under the consent calendar, we have approval of the Planning Commission minutes from June 23rd, 2020, and also July 28th, 2020. Commissioners, do we have any need to pull the minutes for any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, on the, I believe it's the July 28th minutes, I did email Linda. There was an erroneous comment that was made on my part. That was recorded on in regard to one of the projects that I was opposed to public art, which I am not. So I would like that to be deleted.
Very fine. We'll take that as a correction to the July 28th, 2020 minutes. Do we have any, are there any other corrections? Do I hear a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved with the changes.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion to second. Staff, would you confirm the motion and the second, and also take a roll call, please? Mr. Foote?
Sorry, I was unmuted. It's been moved by Commissioner Rock to approve the minutes for June 23rd, 2020, and also the amended minutes for July 28th, 2020. And I'm sorry, could you repeat the second? Was it Commissioner Saucedo?
Richardson.
Richardson, thank you. Commissioner Richardson.
Yes.
Commissioner Rock.
Yes.
Commissioner Saucedo.
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw.
Yes.
Vice Chair Frazier.
Yes.
Chair Guskowski.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Foote. We will move on in our agenda. Number 4 on our agenda is old business. We have no old business items on our agenda today. Next is item 5, new business. Item 5A under new business is an application by Property One LLC. This is consideration of a final map for parcel map number 18536. It is a request for final map approval to subdivide approximately 1.93 acres into 2 parcels for the Packing House District Phase 2 Shopping Center Development, approved under conditional use permit number 905, revision number 4. The project site is located at the southwest corner of Stewart Avenue and Eureka Street in the town center district of the downtown specific plan. And it is noted that approval of a final parcel map is exempt from environmental review pursuant to section. That section pertains to ministerial projects. The staff project planner for this is Emily Elliott. Ms. Elliott.
Thank you, Chairman, and hello, Commissioners. So before you this evening is the final map for Phase 2 of the Packing House District. Here we go. On the screen before you, you'll see an overview of the Packing House District project in the yellow box to the north is phase 1 of the project. That parcel map was 18536-1. And then the southerly portion that you see in white to the south was -2. Now, because this is the final map, the -2 is being dropped to indicate that this is going to be the completed map and there are no future phases. And on the slide now shows the full 18536. The property is being consolidated into 2 lots. And this next slide will show you the current lot configuration on the top, and the bottom lot configuration will be the resulting product of the final map. So the multiple lots are being consolidated into 2, one for each building, for the 2 buildings that were recently approved and are under construction for phase 2. With the city's process for final parcel maps, that duty lies with the Planning Commission. And in order for the Planning Commission to accept the final map, the applicant is required to do a few things. First and foremost, to complete their applicable conditions of approval, to execute a subdivision improvement agreement with the city, and to obtain map approval from the city engineer and surveyor. The applicant has completed all of these things and are ready to have the Planning Commission accept the final map. As mentioned in the introduction, this is a ministerial project, therefore no environmental review is required, and the environmental review for the map was conducted previously under 3 different instances, with an original project EIR for the Redlands Promenade and then 2 subsequent addendums that analyzed the project. So with that, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission accept the final map, and the suggested motion is on the screen.
Thank you, Ms. Elliott. Before asking commissioners if there are any questions for staff at this time, I did jump 1 step ahead of myself. I'm sure all of you noticed, and I did not ask if there have been any commissioner communications with the applicant or developer regarding this matter outside of the hearing room. And I'm not seeing any indication of such. So thank you for bearing with me on that. Thank you for the presentation. Are there any questions from the commission of staff at this time? I'm not seeing any hands come up on my screen. Then I will ask staff if we have had any communication on this matter from the public.
No communication has been received. Also, no notices were sent because it's not a public hearing item. Right. Typically, it would be a consent item, but because this is the only item on today's agenda, it's under new business.
Thank you for that clarification, because I did expect to see it under consent, but you're completely right in the reason for having it on our discussion calendar. I'm not seeing on my screen anyone representing the applicant. Did we have anybody anticipated to speak to this item?
We do have the applicant on the call.
Would that by chance be Mr. Fearon?
I am here. Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. I'm here just to answer any questions if anybody had any questions for us.
Any questions for Mr. Fearon? Commissioner Saucedo.
Yes. After we conduct the business of this applicant, or on this particular item, I would like to ask Mr. Fearon a question on another part of the project, on the cultural part of it, and see where we're at.
Okay. I'm happy to answer that. When you guys, do you want to?
Why don't we just do that right now? Since you have the microphone, Commissioner, why don't you just go ahead and ask the question right now?
So, okay, yeah. I wanted to know where were you at on the community input with in regards to the cultural interpretations, the historical components, to the, as we discussed some time ago, I have not heard, and I'm hoping that, I think at the one time we had a discussion that there was still time.
There is still time.
So I'm just still, I want to be able to adequately have community participation in the the cultural, historical component to that, whatever that might look like, so that there is sufficient community buy-in. Thank you.
I agree with that, Commissioner. And I'm actually working with Michael Baker International, the company that allows us to work with Emily Elliott on this project. And I'm working with another department in her company that has a lot of experience to help us with our community outreach, because right now, obviously, we're in a challenged time where we're having to conduct meetings like today, not in person, but we don't want to just take this time and run away with our ideas. We want people to be involved and give us input. So I'm trying to figure out exactly the best way to do it. And they have a program that we're going to engage with, and then the community will be contacted, and certain stakeholders like commissioners will definitely be alerted to what that process is going to be as soon as we have it fully defined. I personally am trying to push that forward, but my schedule has been a little compromised with finishing up 2 other projects right now, so that's been on my back burner, but we haven't forgotten about it, and I do anticipate getting around to that in the next week or so to at least get our framework established, and you should be getting an update at that point.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other questions or comments from commissioners, either for staff or for Mr. Fearon representing the applicant? All right, I'm not seeing any additional hands come up. This is not a public hearing, so there's no need to close the hearing. This is, as staff has pointed out, this is a ministerial project. We're basically confirming that the conditions surrounding the map have been satisfied. Commissioners, unless there's discussion, is there a motion to accept staff's recommendation that is noted on our screen? Commissioner Rock, I see your hand going up.
Chairman Guzikowski, I recommend that the Planning Commission approve the final map for parcel map number 18536 as submitted by the applicant.
We have a motion from Commissioner Rock. Is there a second?
Second.
I think that was Commissioner Shaw who got the second in there. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Foote, would you be kind enough to reconfirm the motion and the second, and also take a roll of the vote, please?
It has been moved by Commissioner Rock to approve the final map for parcel map 18536 and seconded by Commissioner Shaw. Commissioner Richardson.
Yes.
Commissioner Rock.
Yes.
Commissioner Saucedo.
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw.
Yes.
Vice Chair Fraser.
Yes.
And Chair Guzikowski.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Foote. That concludes our new business item. We'll move on to item 6 on our agenda, which is the addenda. And we have under the addenda, A, Planning Commission updates, which will be provided by Planner Brian Foote. Mr. Foote, would you like me to read the items here, or will you just introduce them as part of your presentation?
I will introduce them as part of the presentation.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Give me one moment to do a screen share here.
While you're doing that, I don't think it matters at this point, but Ms. Ferris, you apparently and others may have known that Mr. Fearon was with us for this meeting, but I was not seeing him on my list of participants. So I don't know if there's something else going on, but I was having a problem with that one.
Okay, can you see the cover slide? Okay.
Update on development projects, yes.
Yes, okay, great, thank you. So this item is number 6, addenda. This is some brief planning division updates on recent development projects that have been completed, as well as a handful of major project applications that are currently under review, a brief update on the housing element update project, a brief update on the sustainable mobility plan project, as well as a brief update on outdoor dining in the downtown. I will take the opportunity now to add that I received one voicemail regarding this item from Mr. Bell, and his comment was that he believed there should be a staff report prepared for the development projects, to summarize the development projects. So in the absence of a staff report, I will add, as we go through the slides here, I will add the project address, as well as I'll note the permit number and the approval date. And so that way, any interested persons viewing this meeting can go to the meeting date and view the staff report for that particular project. Okay, so we will begin with Woodspring Suites. That has been open now for a few months. This is located at 1700 Orange Tree Lane. That was approved with a conditional use permit number 1076 on April 10th, 2018. They had construction for almost 1 year, and they opened the hotel a few months ago, as I mentioned. This is a 4-story structure, 45 feet to top of parapet, and has 122 guest rooms on 2.7 acres. And this particular site is just west of Alabama Street. And as you can see there, that is the final product. In particular, you'll note the architecture, which you may recall that the Planning Commission had some discussion with the developer at the prior hearing, and the developer resubmitted and got the project approved, and this is what the Planning Commission approved. So it's a very nice building. Next is Building E, located at 1107 Park Avenue. This was approved under Commission Review and Approval number 901. It was approved by City Council on February 19th, 2019. This is a 3-story building, approximately 45 feet to the top roof line. The project site is 3.6 acres, and this building is a total of 110,479 square feet and a subterranean parking structure as well. And the shell, the exterior, is substantially complete. And from what I understand, the developer will be seeking a certificate of occupancy possibly in the next few weeks, and then proceed with interior or continue with interior improvements on this building. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers is now open and doing quite well, judging by the number of cars in the drive-through lanes. This is 1435 East Lagonia Avenue. This was approved under conditional use permit number 1131 on October 22nd, 2019. And this is a 4,086 square foot building on 1.6 acres. So this is on the south side of Lagonia, just west of the 210 freeway. It is East Valley Corridor Specific Plan, EVCG. And just anecdotally, driving by the site, it always seems like the dual drive-through lanes are completely filled and the cars wrap through the parking lot. So they've got quite a following and are doing quite well in the first few months that they've been open. Next is a series of projects in the downtown area. The arrows indicate the project locations. I'll start with the downtown coffee shop here, and you'll note the location next to the parking structure, downtown parking structure that's just beginning construction, and its adjacency to the Metrolink platform. Also, across the street, across Eureka, there are the 2 buildings under construction on the site that you just approved the final map for that particular site, plus 2 other projects on the south side of the tracks. That is the Escape Brewery, and then also the J. Riley Distillery and Restaurant. So we will start with the Starbucks. This is located at 275 West Stewart. This is CUP number 1129 that was approved on June 29th, 2019. And this is a total of 2,400 square feet. And as I mentioned, it's adjacent to the Metrolink platform that is currently under construction. The platform itself, we just poured the concrete a couple of days ago, and there's a framing structure now that's been completed for the station site, and then work proceeds on the Metrolink platform. And this particular Starbucks had a drive-through lane approved, and as you can see, this is the final product with the building on prominent display at the intersection corner. The downtown parking structure is just beginning construction. There's not a lot of structure to see yet. There is some grading and a large hole in the ground currently. So construction is beginning on this one. This was approved by CUP number 1144, and this is at the intersection of Stewart and 3rd Street, approved on February 25th, 2020. And this includes a total of 384 parking spaces, of which 200 spaces would be for train station use, for commuters and travelers at the train station. Now, the next series of slides shows the phase 2 of the Packing House District, and this is the final map that the Commission approved just a few minutes ago. So these buildings are nearing completion of the exterior shells. The two buildings combined total 15,250 square feet, and this was approved by City Council on June 18th, 2019 under CUP 905 revision number 4. So the building you see there is the multi-tenant retail building. And here's the site plan. So this is the southwest corner of Stewart, West Stewart, and Eureka. And the retail building is towards the interior, and then towards the intersection is the retail and restaurant building. This is the rear side of the retail building. And then this is the restaurant building as viewed from the intersection of Eureka and Stewart. And as you can see, the work is moving fairly quickly. It should be completed within, I believe the estimate was a couple of months. Now on the south side of the tracks, we have two projects. On the left side of the screen, you see the Escape Brewery. And then towards the right side of the screen is the J. Riley Distillery. The Escape Brewery building is an adaptive reuse of the historic Transfer and Storage Company building, otherwise known as the Rondor building. This is CUP number 1132, totaling 8,520 square feet. And with the addition of a couple of new patios, you see the one patio there in the middle of the building with the patio cover constructed. And this was approved on June 25th, 2019. And this one also is moving along fairly quickly. And then on the easterly side of the lot, of the parking lot, the shared parking lot, is the J. Riley Distillery. The building in the foreground is the new restaurant building. And as you can see, the framing is completed and the exterior is going up quickly. And then to the lower left of that building, there's an existing commercial building that's being adaptively reused, and that will be the distillery. So this will all be J. Riley Distillery with the restaurant and tasting room towards the front, and then the distillery itself with the manufacturing and distribution activities occurring in the rear building. The next project is McDonald's at 612 East Redlands Boulevard. This was CUP number 530, revision number 2, approved on June 25th, 2019. And the change to this particular site was the addition of another drive-through lane, so a dual drive-through lane. And then some site improvements, some repaving, new landscaping, and then a total exterior remake of the facade. And so what you see here is the finished product. There's a new roof line, new parapets. Also, there's the new trellis feature, which was a nice addition to balance out the massing of the building. And that one is now completed. I don't have a current photo of the Hilton Home 2 Suites, but it is framed and the exterior is being applied currently. The slide that you see is the approved elevation. And construction has been ongoing for approximately, I think it's been about 3 months now. This is 1342 Industrial Park Avenue. It was conditional use permit number 1056, approved on March 18th, 2018. And this structure is 4 stories with a total of 77 rooms. So I believe the estimate was that construction would be completed by the end of the year on this particular project. And this is just west of Tennessee Street and just south of the freeway off-ramp at Tennessee Street. If you know where the AAA office building is on Industrial Park Avenue, this Hilton Home 2 Suites is to the rear of the AAA building. Next is the Krikorian Retail Center. This is CRA Commission Review and Approval number 898 at 333 Orange Street. It was approved on August 14th, 2018. And this included two buildings. The one you see on the slide now is the single tenant building, approximately 5,200 square feet. And this is immediately south of the FedEx Kinko's building, if you know where that is, on Orange Street. That's at Shoppers Lane. And then an accompanying building is a multi-tenant retail and restaurant building. And this building is on the south side of Shoppers Lane, immediately across from the Santa Fe Depot. And the top rendering that you see would be the north elevation of the building facing the Santa Fe Depot. And then the lower left elevation would be the interior side or the parking lot side of that same building. And as you can see, it has a very nice packing house themed design. And from what I understand, this particular project is in plan check and will be beginning construction fairly soon. That wraps up the current or ongoing projects. Next, we have current development applications, and we will start with a subdivision at 301 West Palm Avenue. And this is for a 30-lot subdivision on 6 acres. Palm Avenue, in this particular rendering, Palm Avenue is on the left side of the screen, which is toward the northerly side of the project site. There is an accompanying parcel map to subdivide the carriage house, the historic carriage house on 1.5 acres, another house on about a half-acre parcel, and then a private park, 0.9 acre, to be maintained by the homeowners association. And then, as you can see, access would be provided off of Palm Avenue with the 30 lots configured around the new street, and then a terminus, a cul-de-sac at this westerly end here. And I believe I saw a hand raised.
You did, sir. I just wanted to let everybody know that there's already a considerable amount of public comment on this. People are outraged in the neighborhood.
And I would just add that we are staff is anticipating that this project will be brought before the Planning Commission October 13th. So that's I believe the first meeting in October. Let's see, next project currently under review is Citrus Valley Specific Plan. So this is located near the northwest corner of Domestic and Texas Street. The project site begins approximately 700 feet west of Texas Street, and this is to the north of Citrus Valley High School. The entire project site is approximately 58 acres, and the current general plan designation is low density residential. And as a specific plan, this would include a total of 317 single-family lots in various configurations. There's a larger lot subdivision, there's a smaller lot subdivision, and there's garden homes, so various configurations. Plus, there's a proposed 12-acre public park at the southwesterly corner of the project site, taking access from Domestic Avenue. And so this project is still in the early stages of review. The environmental review process is just getting underway on this, so I would anticipate this might come before the Planning Commission sometime early next year. The next project is Citrus Green Specific Plan. This particular site is 4.9 acres, located east of Sunnyside Avenue and north of Linda Vista. So this particular neighborhood is just to the east of Redlands Community Hospital. And this is a proposal for 20 single-family lots and 1 common lettered lot. And the lot sizes and proposed house sizes would be similar to the surrounding neighborhood. And this is also another project where the environmental review is currently underway. Next is a proposed new church and elementary school. This is located at the northwest corner of East Lagonia Avenue and Dearborn Street. On this particular site plan that you see, Lagonia is on the right-hand side at the south end of the site. Dearborn is on the top, which is the easterly edge of the site. And then Pennsylvania Avenue is to the left of the slide, which is the northerly end of the project site. And this particular proposal is a conditional use permit on a total site area of 19.5 acres. The proposed church building is 26,282 square feet. The parish hall is 33,925 square feet. And then a preschool building at 9,922 square feet. And then I believe 5 classroom buildings totaling 31,578 square feet, and then associated athletic fields and other recreational facilities. And also this is a project that has environmental review that is currently getting underway on this particular proposal. And then these are renderings showing the architectural style and theme that are proposed. Any questions on any of that, or should we keep going?
Let's keep going, and we'll watch out for hands.
All right. Other planning programs and projects that we have underway currently is the very important housing element update. So as you may be aware, the housing element is a part of the general plan. It is prepared and updated on a separate cycle from the general plan, the rest of the general plan document itself. Although a housing element is a required and integral element of our 2035 general plan. This particular element evaluates housing opportunities, constraints, and prepares a plan to accommodate the city's regional housing needs assessment, or RENA. It's referred to as RENA. The city's sixth cycle is for years 2022 through 2029. This particular project is being funded by a grant from the state. We were fortunate to get a $300,000 grant, local early action planning grant from the Housing and Community Development Department from the state, a portion of which is covering the total cost of this housing element update. And overall, this update will take about 1 year. We anticipate adoption hearings in the latter half of 2021, hopefully the third quarter. And with that introduction, I'll turn it over to Catherine Lynn for a few more details.
Thank you, Mr. Foote. Ms. Lynn?
Thank you, Mr. Foote. Thank you, Chairman. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, and Ms. Lynn, before you start, I see Commissioner Saucedo's hand go up. Question right now that you want to ask, or should we listen to Ms. Lynn's presentation, Commissioner? Commissioner Saucedo?
Yes, let's listen to Ms. Lynn.
Thank you. Ms. Lynn, please proceed.
Thank you, Commissioners. Housing element update occurs every 5 to 8 years pursuant to Government Code Section 65588. Thinking about housing from a broader context is critical in achieving a variety of community objectives. Where and how people live is a critical piece in building a community and creating a sense of place. How we plan for housing impact a number of community objectives such as economy, mobility, education, health, sustainability, and community building, and our aging population. Updating a housing element sets the stage for jurisdictions to access critical fundings as well. These funding include infrastructure funds, CDBG funds, park programs, home programs. This housing element update cycle is the sixth cycle. There have been a number of new state legislations that change some of the requirements of the housing element update process for this cycle. But the most notable change is that all jurisdictions in California face a notably higher RENA allocation. RENA allocation is assigned by SCAG, which is our regional planning body. And after a very robust and transparent planning process that went over the past 2 years, the SCAD's Regional Council approved the draft RENA allocation on September 3rd. That was last Thursday. And city managers and planning directors throughout the state were officially notified of the final draft RENA allocations last Friday, September 4th. For the city of Redlands, our draft RENA allocation is, the total allocation is 3,507 units. Of that, 964 units must be planned for the very low income population. 614 units must be planned for the low income population. 650 units must be planned for the moderate income population. And 1,279 units must be planned for the above moderate income population. This number is a 44% increase from the last housing element cycle. However, overall, staff believes that this number is reasonable and feasible for the city of Redlands. Do we have any questions so far?
Any questions for Ms. Lin from the commission?
Yes.
Please proceed.
So the question is, who will be at the table in the land use planning, prioritizing of the resource allocation in the RENA? Who has an opportunity to sit at the table in deciding or having input to that?
And that question is from Commissioner Salcedo. Ms. Lin?
Thank you for your question. Thank you for your question, Commissioner Salcedo. It's an excellent question. We are in the process of developing a stakeholders list that we will commit to actively reaching out during this housing element process. The list is in the progress, and if any commissioners have contacts for groups that represent the disabled community and the developmentally disabled community in Redlands, I would love to receive their contact.
So I will submit some of those folks that you're suggesting as of my prior experience on another board that may be helpful in deciding and come with an expertise as far as data and resources, or not resources, but analysis.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner, for that. Do we have any other questions for Ms. Lin? Ms. Lin, I'm not seeing any other hands come up. Did you have anything further on the housing plan, or are we moving on to the next item?
Yes, I do have more to present.
Please, please.
Okay, so SCAD has an appeal process for the draft RENA allocations, which will start this Friday, September 11th, and conclude in January of next year. SCAD will release the final RENA allocation in February of next year. Staff anticipates that our final RENA allocation will be slightly higher than the draft number we see right now, because SCAD will redistribute the units that are successfully appealed by other jurisdictions within the SCAD region. After SCAD release the final RENA allocation in February of next year, the city will have 8 months to bring the 6th cycle of housing element update to adoption by the City Council and obtain certification from HCD, the Department of Housing and Community Development, by October 15th of 2021. Housing element needs to be internally consistent with all other planning documents in the city, which means that it needs to be consistent with the 2035 general plan. Where the general plan frames for future housing to occur, which is a lot of it is along the core of the city where the Transit Village specific plan area is. That is where we should focus a lot of our analysis on to find housing opportunities. In addition to jurisdictions having some ability, in addition, jurisdictions will have some ability to reuse sites that were listed in the current housing element as well as in the 4-cycle housing element, subject to some state law changes. Further, staff has identified approximately 100 additional acres outside the Transit Village specific plan area where we have the potential through conducting very thorough public participation to identify additional sites for our RENA allocation. Going back to the key planning principle of internal consistency between planning documents as well as smart growth principles, a sound planning practice, however, is to focus to utilize sites around the 3 future train stations for our RENA allocation. In addition, the Transit Village specific plan area is also where we can best accomplish other community objectives such as economy, mobility, access to higher education, health, sustainability, community building, and also get the most out of the city's investment in public infrastructure and take advantage of the regional transportation network. In addition, the state is actively tracking how each jurisdiction is doing in implementing its housing element and producing housing, particularly for the lower income categories. The city has done really well in producing low to moderate density single family homes, but we have not performed as well. We have not performed well in fulfilling the higher density category of our RENA allocation in the past few housing element cycles. Those are topics that we need to be mindful of heading into our 6th cycle housing element update. Given the tight timeline, the process will be fast and transparent with public participation building every step of the way. Staff will provide updates to the Planning Commission along the way, and we will be happy to answer any questions regarding this planning effort at any time. That concludes my summary.
Ms. Lynn, thank you. I have a question for you. Again, this is Chairman Guskowski. Your comments about the RENA, what I took note of was you said, at least I believe you said, that as appeals, if any, take place and result in reductions to jurisdictions, the resulting consequence of that could be a redistribution to all the remaining RENA numbers, and I assume that meant in an upward direction. What does that mean for jurisdictions such as Redlands if we collectively, including from the recommendations that you as staff provide us, believe that the RENA numbers that were being provided now are fair? Could we end up in a situation where we feel we have unfair allocations as a result of appeals by others? What does that do to Redlands in terms of protecting its interests?
The way that SCAG sets up the appeal process is it runs for 90 days. The first 45 days is for jurisdictions to file an appeal, and jurisdictions need to give very solid justification as to why is a particular jurisdiction appealing how many numbers of which income category subject to the statutory requirements. And if a jurisdiction is able to produce those documentation, SCAG is going to very carefully review all these appeals, and all the appeal letters will be made available on SCAG's website. Then the successfully appeal numbers will be redistributed based on a ratio, first within your county and then within the SCAG region. But it's only the successfully appealed numbers, which is really difficult to get. So because of the increase in SCAG in the RENA number, there will be appeals and there will be redistribution. We do not know how that will look like for the city yet. But if the result is unreasonable for the city of Redlands, we do have the opportunity to appeal it as well.
Very good. Thank you. I appreciate that answer. Do we have any other questions for Ms. Lynn at this time on the housing element update that we have before us? All right, I'm not seeing any other hands come up. Ms. Lynn, are we moving on to the next item?
I believe so.
All right, I believe that we're returning it back to Mr. Foote.
Thank you. So the next project I wanted to mention is the Sustainable Mobility Plan, which is a citywide study to evaluate all the potential modes of transportation and how they can be improved and integrated, including walking, biking, transit, and complete streets concepts where applicable. Now, this project is actually being led by the Municipal Utilities and Engineering Department. They received a separate SCAG grant, and they are working with Alta Planning Group to assist MUID staff with preparing this plan. And it will be prepared carefully so that it does include and integrate the city's existing bicycle master plan, the Orange Blossom Trail plan. The consultant is aware of the draft Transit Villages specific plan. And so the consultant Alta Planning is currently beginning work, and they are conducting a number of community surveys. They are looking for volunteers and participants to help with surveys and suggestions within Redlands. And there is a project website set up. It is redlandssmp.com. If you happen to receive any inquiries or questions about this particular project, the Sustainable Mobility Plan, you can direct people to the website or the staff contact in MUID. And I also wanted to give the commission a brief update on the status of the outdoor dining. As you're aware, the council approved outdoor dining on State Street a couple of months ago. Initially, the approval was for Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. That has now been extended to 11 p.m., as well as they're going to expand it to one more day, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. And the attendance has been fairly good. We're hoping several of the restaurants and other retail stores can do a little bit of business during this time in a safe manner. And so this outdoor dining will probably continue for a little while longer. And then we'll reassess at some point. And just for the commission's information, we do have an application form for outdoor dining outside of the downtown area for other restaurants. I know several restaurants have applied for and received approval for outdoor dining. I think Sizzler is an example over here on Redlands Boulevard, and there's several others in the area. But if you do happen to receive any inquiries, you can direct people to the Planning Division website, and they can find all the information and instructions they need on our website. And they can contact staff, of course, as well. And with that, I'll conclude my presentation.
Well, thank you
questions?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Foote. Do we have any questions for staff on any of the items that we just had before us as presentation matters? Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, I just had an informational question. What is SCAG's website?
The URL for SCAG?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yes.
Let me check
You
real quick here. The main page is www.scag.ca.gov.
Any other questions for staff?
Thank you.
Commissioner Richardson, your hand is still up. Any further follow-up on that?
No, I'm taking it down.
Very fine. Thank you. Any other questions? Let me offer my compliments to you, Mr. Foote, and to Ms. Lynn. Excellent job. You really show your preparation for this, and it's very much appreciated in the clarity of the work that you provide us. Did provide us in those presentations. So thanks again for that. All right,
Certainly.
I believe, unless I see a hand go up, I believe we're concluding then item 6, which is our addenda. Moving on in our agenda, the next item is announcements and commissioner comments. Let me ask Vice Chair Fraser, I know that you sent out an email to staff and kindly provided a copy to the commission. I don't know if you wish to follow up on that at this time, or I'm assuming it'll be a conversation that'll come up as part of item 8 on our agenda, the director's update. But Vice Chair Fraser, anything to follow up at this time, or move to the next, or wait for the next item?
No, I believe the item that I was asking about has been scheduled for a future meeting, so it is being addressed.
Well, thank you for that. I didn't see it, so I'm glad that it is indeed going to come back before us. Are there any other announcements or commissioner comments on this part of our at this part of our agenda? Oh, I got to get back to my participant list so I can see what's going on. No, I don't see any hands coming up, so I will assume then that we are good with item 7. Moving on in our agenda, then we are now at item 8, the director's update. Director Desatnik.
Thank you, Chair Guskowski. I just wanted to update the commission on one item that was before the council at the last meeting. I know the commission was very interested in the outcome of this. The development agreement that was subject to a lengthy discussion before the commission that went to the council in July, and they had only 4 members and was a split vote in July, so they brought it back in September, and the council voted 3-2 to deny that development agreement application. Other than that, there was no other council items to report on, and just the item that you were alluding to with Commissioner Fraser.
Vice Chair Fraser.
Vice Chair Fraser's comment was with regard to Splash Kingdom, and I had responded to him via email that it is our intent to agendize that property for a discussion with the commission at the first meeting in October.
Wonderful. Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate that. Anything further, Director Desatnik?
No, that's it for tonight.
Before adjourning, anything else from anyone for the good of the order? I see no hands going up. In that case, thank you to all. Please stay healthy. We are adjourned to September 22nd, 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.